All right, everybody, welcome to Winter in the Mailman for tonight's edition. We are talking to Bridgeport girls wrestling coach Tony McGrath. Coach McGrath, welcome into tonight's podcast. And it looks like you're still at the school. Have been working out?
No, I just came over here. It's a little quieter,
Quiet,
setting.
yeah.
Don't have dogs bugging me and stuff. So
Coach, how first of all, how did you get caught up in girls wrestling in Bridgeport? I mean, it's obviously it's a historic program, first year program, and the coaches for this stuff. I mean, you guys got to be a special breed because it's like I said, it's a brand new thing. You got a brand new bunch of girls that you're trying to mold into wrestlers. Coach, how did you get started in coaching girls wrestling?
well, we a few years ago, I started coaching junior high wrestling, and through that, a couple of years later, Jersey Menke joined our team at the junior high level, and she went on to the high school level. And the year that she was a freshman, I became an assistant wrestling coach here at Bridgeport for the high school. And just watching her and just the dedication, hard work that she put in, and just the constant trying to get better, and the love of the sport that she had and still has, it just kind of inspired me to reach out to other girls to give them that opportunity to just build some character, structure, discipline, and really just a wrestling team. When you go through a high school wrestling season together, it just builds a lot of camaraderie, and you have so many life lessons in there. So that was really what got me started, and just the opportunity. You could see it was happening across the state.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I could help get girls here that opportunity. So along with like guidance from Coach Johnson and our superintendent, Mr. Lambert, we just kind of put together we wanted to make sure that we were ahead of the game. And so last it would be winter, January, February, we did just a girls program, just with girls. Invite them into the wrestling room, showed them wrestling. And now we have 7 of those girls that are wrestling for us this year, and 1 new one that they brought in. So it's been good.
So what was the process like, especially as soon as you heard that they were that the NSAA was sanctioning a team, girls wrestling teams?
We were kind of anticipating it. You kind of feel it kind of moving that way. And you could just, the year before, I think it missed by a vote or two to get where it needed to be. But you could just kind of feel it coming, that it was going to happen. And it just, when it happened, our girls were excited. I think I sent them out a team message. They were all excited. Some of the parents are just as excited as the kids. And that's pretty neat to see maybe a father or a grandfather who wrestled, and his granddaughter has the opportunity to wrestle in a sanctioned sports. Is pretty cool.
So you're still an assistant on the boys team. So
yes.
How's it going to work at, like, let's say duels or tournaments where you're going to be the assistant coach on the boys team and the head girls coach at the same time?
We have another assistant coach who's going to kind of help all of us. So we'll have Coach Nichols, Brandon Nichols joined our coaching staff this year, and he's going to be helping kind of in between both. And so that's kind of how we're managing that. And it's been going well so far. And so, the biggest thing for us is just always try to put the kids first. It's always about the kids. It's not really so much about us, but the kids, and that they have that opportunity, and that we make it an enjoyable opportunity, and also compete at the highest level that we can.
So in the wrestling room, when you guys go in there every night, the girls and the boys are both in the same wrestling room, practicing at the same time. Do you float between the two, or do you kind of keep your focus on the girls?
I float between the two. We all kind of float between the two. Just what we see, kind of concentrate more on the girls. It's been different because it's been different because girl athletes are different than boy athletes.
Yeah,
and so the boys are over there just kind of not liking each other, and the girls are giggling a little bit. It's a little different. It's hard to get used to a little bit. But they're just as intense and just as competitive, but they just handle it differently and express themselves a little differently. So that actually happened tonight, and it was just kind of a neat moment because you just see how the two different groups work. But
I think I saw that when I was there too. Some of your girls were giggling and the guys were just going at it. And at one point I had to move.
I grew up on the mat and, went through all the federations, the high school, and, I was as a team captain in high school, and we hated each other. I mean, we were out there to beat the snot out of each other. And I think it would have been tough, especially our era, Tony, that if we would have looked over and saw, 7 girls over there. The only 7 girls we saw anywhere near the wrestling room were the cheerleaders when they were walking through. And, this is something that I think a lot of people have to get used to, but I'm seeing a lot of support from everybody out there that this is going on. I think it's a great opportunity for these kids.
Yeah, thank you. I do too. It's the whole state's kind of buzzing about it, and we'll see how in February they'll have their districts and they'll have their place at the state tournament. They'll be on TV, and it'll just be good. It'll be good for them. It'll be good for the state.
Now, as far as talent goes in the room, you talked about Jersey being there, coming in and helping out and stuff, but as far as your talent goes, what's it looking like for your girls? I mean, you got a lot of very green girls in there. You got some girls with some background, or have maybe had brothers or whatever, and wrestled federation and stuff. Do you got some experience?
We don't have much experience, and we did our little program last year. They all competed in a few tournaments in the federation circle. We have one that wrestled on a couple dual teams. Our biggest thing, they're a pretty competitive bunch. Our biggest thing right now is mat time. It's just getting them against other girls, other than their teammates. So that'll be the kind of the critical thing, to see them up against other girls as we go forward.
Mat time is definitely the most crucial thing that any wrestler can deal with. Is you can be as great as you want in practice, but until you can do it out against another guy that you've never seen before, or somebody ranked in the state or something like that, unless you can finish that 6 minutes out with them, all the practice in the world. I always tell everybody that 6 minutes on the mat is 2 days in the wrestling room. I mean, it's that much experience you can get out of it just from competing.
Yeah, that's about right. Yep. We got the big thing with this group is, out of the 8 girls that are gonna weigh in tomorrow at their first duel, 9 of them are 7 of them are freshmen. So it's good. So 7 freshmen and 1 10th grader. So pretty young team.
That's some good mold. That's some good clay that you can work with. Yeah.
Yep. And I got two girls that are 8th graders that are pretty passionate about wrestling too, and they show some dedication towards the sport. So it's good.
Brianna, I think it's awesome. You see these small schools, and that's the difference between growing up in a small school and a bigger school, is the passion for the sports and stuff. You grew up in Gearing, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you, Tony.
Yeah.
I worked with your dad at Walmart years and years and years ago.
Yes.
But anyway, you grew up in Gearing, which was a very passionate wrestling school. And, in these small schools, I grew up in Mitchell, you're in Bridgeport now, and, these kids just got a different, there's just something different about them. Their toughness, their resilience, their want to go out and do something. How important is that because I mean, when you walk out on the mat, you got to be 100% focused and 100% ready. I mean, this isn't a basketball game where you can be, the 5th player and just kind of stand off to the side. It's mano a mano. It's you and somebody else. I mean, you've got to earn your lunch. And how big is it to that passion and hunger that these kids have to do this, because it's not an easy thing just to walk into.
Yeah, they even express that today. Nervousness is their biggest thing. And I think just getting them out there on the mat against some other girls and being able to compete and to see how it works out and plays out. And, it's sometimes just getting maybe somebody does a hard crossface on you, just getting hit a little bit and getting banged up, and it kind of sparks something in you that you're going to vow maybe to never let that happen again, or whatever the situation may be. But they just need to experience some of that stuff that can keep them driving to the next meet.
Yeah, you got to take that first hit or that first punch, and then you're ready to go. And it's just what they just say. They say the same thing about football. Once they take that first hit, the rest of the game just comes naturally. And wrestling is the same way, man. If somebody's gonna go out there and put it to you, and once that whistle blows and you tie up, I mean, it's go time, and it just seems to get a little easier after that. But Brianna?
So I know I talked to you about this last week, but how important is this girls wrestling program?
How important?
How important is it to the school and just?
It's really important. It's the first year. It's good to have a first team. It's just seeing these girls, their excitement and their want to do it, and they're not being forced to do it. I didn't go out and recruit any of these girls. I just offer them just support and talk to them and say, just treat them like people, and just they have an excitement about it, an excitement for it. So it's important to them. So when it becomes important to them, it becomes important to me. And so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to help them get to where they want to get individually.
So what was the reaction when all of you found out that girls wrestling was now sanctioned with the NSAA?
Right when I kind of sent out the message and it kind of started getting around, they wanted to practice right away. They were like, can we come in and practice? And well, no, but we can have open mat and you guys can come in and so they came in, and a few of them came in and just wanted to be a part of it, just the start of it. And so hopefully this summer we can get them to some camps and get them to kind of take it more as Dave, it's like wrestling, if you want to be good, it has to be a 12-month sport. Whatever it is, if you want to be at the top, now it's fine. You can only do it for 4 months, but that's where you're going to end up. In February, when we go down to the state tourney, that's where you're going to end up, is what you put in throughout the year.
You gotta live the sport. You really do. And it's funny you said that they wanted to get out on the mat. It's funny because that's the difference between girls and boys. They wanted to get out on the mat. When it was time for practice, we didn't want to go anywhere near the mat. I was like, I don't want to go today. I don't want to do this today. But it's 100%. You got to be 100% vested.
You do. Right now it's diet and nutrition. They have their first official weigh-in the state of Nebraska tomorrow. And so they've got to start monitoring that. And, now that with the dissension plan and healthy, they do it pretty healthy way as opposed to the past.
Yeah, they do.
And like right now, 5 of my girls are in the 114, 120 weight class. They all weigh about the same. So that's going to be one of our struggles.
Yeah.
Is who's going where, who's going to wrestle up, who wants to lose a few pounds and that. So, and like probably a little different than boys. They were supposed to have a wrestle off tonight and they're like, no, we'll figure this out. We'll just figure it out on our own. And we'll let you know.
Oh, man.
I don't know if your wrestling coach told you, okay, that's okay to.
No.
You guys figure it out.
No, they set up the wagon wheel for us. It was time to go. And, and that's just it. You mentioned something about diet and nutrition and stuff, when we were coming up, it was, kill yourself, lose 15, 20 pounds in a week. And, you lived on ice cubes and saltine crackers for a week. And, they've done a good job with these kids now, though, where, they don't allow them to, go, kill themselves basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing because, it takes the fun out of it when you're constantly sick and you're constantly hurt and tired and you're cutting all that weight and stuff. And I think that's a good way to get the love back into the sport. And I guess no better way to get love back in the sport than let the girls do it too. And it's awesome to see. It's just absolutely fantastic.
So what are you looking forward to as the season starts this week?
I'm looking forward to seeing how they compete. We're not going to have many matches tomorrow night at our duel with Chase County and Garden County. They have each team has a couple girls, but we don't match up weight wise so well with them. But we go to Mullen on Saturday, and Mullen there'll be some girl wrestlers at Mullen, and we'll have our own girl division there. We'll head to Valentine, or not Valentine. We'll
That's a long
head to
trip.
Gordon Rushville the next Saturday, and there'll be teams like Valentine there, and they have several girls, and so they're going to get some competition here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Valentine. I'll tell you what, you get up in them sandhills, man. I ran into plenty of guys from Valentine and Thedford and you name it, Mullen. They were all over the place, and they've got there's a lot of love for the sport up through there, and I'm sure that Coach Allison up in Valentine, I'm sure that he's got a pretty good set of girls going on up there. So yeah, you guys, it's gonna be quite the test. And other than Bridgeport, who else other than Bridgeport and Mitchell who has the teams around here?
Like Garden County has a couple of girls, Chase County has a couple of girls, and I think that's about it this way. I don't know if I talked to the coaches, and I can't think of any of the other ones that came up and said that they had some girls wrestling. So you get back, I know that some of those schools in the Sandhills have some girls wrestling. So that's good.
On NSAA, I believe it showed Sydney and Shadron both had teams.
Okay, Sydney. Yeah, Sydney does have a few girls in Shadron as well. Yep, you're correct.
And there's a few more. I just can't.
Yeah.
Hemingford.
Hemingford, yes, Hemingford. And they support girls wrestling too. They've always wanted to get started there. Pete Gomez there. He's always wanted to get girls wrestling started. He's always been an advocate for the sport. And yeah, Hemingford's the one that always looking for someone to kind of push the girls sports.
We've been in touch with a lot of the other coaches around here as far as, trying to get the kids together and trying to get some scheduling done or anything like that, or just tips and tricks, anything like that.
The state put out a spreadsheet, and kind of if your boys team is going somewhere, if they're going to be a girls division.
Okay.
So if there's going to be a girls division, then we're just running the two tournaments together. So because a lot of places they don't have two head coaches. They're just having the one head coach for both the boys and the girls.
Yeah,
and so that's kind of limits where you can go.
I see. Well, all I can say, Coach, is good luck, and we'll be keeping an eye on those Bridgeport girls this year. And you got anything else that you'd like to add to the podcast here?
No, I just want to thank you guys for helping push the sport of girls wrestling and being a fan already. And
definitely.
It's good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, especially somewhat last minute. So for those of you listening or watching, check out the Star Herald, whether in stands or starherald.com for more sports coverage. And I'm pretty sure we will be seeing some Bridgeport girls wrestling in the paper at some point. So have a good rest of your weekend, night, whatever day you're watching this, and have a good holiday season.